It began with a text that didn't feel right. Dinner ran late. Don't wait up. Lena sent it at 10:47 p.m. The words felt off, too polished, too deliberate. That wasn't her tone. It sounded like something you'd type when someone's standing close enough to read over your shoulder. I stared at the screen, the glow from my phone catching the rim of the whiskey glass in my hand, and a slow unease curled in my gut. Lena worked for a man named Adrian Holt, a name that carried both admiration and quiet fear. He was one of those powerful corporate figures who commanded a room with nothing but presence. Tall, confident, every gesture calculated. Lena had been his executive assistant for 3 months, and from the moment she started, I'd felt something change. At first, I told myself it was just stress, long hours, pressure, the ruthless pace of her new job. But then came the late-night phone calls she took outside, the evenings she couldn't explain, the faint scent of someone else's cologne in her hair when she came home. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, replaying every conversation we'd had in recent weeks. Suddenly, every small detail felt loaded, suspicious, like I was piecing together a puzzle I hadn't realized existed. When she came home just after midnight, she looked uneasy. Her eyes flicked to me sitting on the couch, then quickly to the floor. "You're still up," she murmured. "Couldn't sleep," I said evenly. "How was dinner?" She hesitated. "It was fine. Adrian wanted to discuss a project privately." I took a slow sip of my drink. "Privately?" She nodded, setting her purse down. "That's just how he works." Something in the way she said it made my skin crawl. For days past, I tried to shake the feeling, but the tension only grew heavier. Lena's phone was always locked now. Her laughter over text came less and less. When I asked about work, she dodged my gaze. One evening, while she showered, her phone lit up on the counter. The name Adrian Holt flashed across the screen, then disappeared. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The knot in my chest pulled tighter until it was hard to breathe. The next day, I followed her. I told myself it wasn't out of suspicion. It was confirmation. I needed to see for myself. She met him at a high-end restaurant downtown. From across the street, I watched them sit too close, too familiar. Their conversation was animated. He leaned in, his expression smug. She laughed softly, tucking her hair behind her ear. His hand lingered on the table, inches from hers. That was enough. I didn't confront her. Not yet. That night, I pretended nothing was wrong, made her tea, asked about her day, acted calm, because I needed time to think, to plan. 3 days later, she broke. We were sitting at the kitchen table when she whispered, "Adrian's been making me uncomfortable." Her voice trembled, but her eyes, the same eyes I'd loved for a decade, were full of guilt. "What do you mean?" I asked quietly. "He's been saying things, touching me when no one's looking." She swallowed hard. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want to make it worse. He's powerful, Ethan. If I push back too hard, I could lose my job." Anger burned cold in my chest. "Has he?" "No," she said quickly. "I stopped it before it went that far. But he won't stop trying." I reached across the table and took her hand. "Then we make sure he regrets it." Over the next few days, we gathered proof. Lena began recording their conversations, saving every message and inappropriate remark. Adrian had grown careless, arrogant. He believed he was untouchable. One night, she came home pale and shaking. "He invited me to his penthouse," she said. "Said he wanted to celebrate my dedication." That was the breaking point. We devised a plan. Lena would go, wearing a discreet recorder I'd set up. I'd be nearby, listening. If he crossed the line again, everything would be captured. When she arrived at his penthouse, I watched from the street, pulse racing. Through the large windows, I could see their silhouettes. His body language was predatory, leaning in, circling her like prey. Then his voice came through the audio feed. "You've been leading me on," Adrian said smoothly. "Don't pretend you didn't want this." "Stop," Lena said firmly. He laughed. "You really think your husband can give you what I can? Money, power, security. He's nothing compared to me." That was all I needed. I'd already prepared a secure drive packed with evidence, his emails, company data, and the recordings Lena had gathered months earlier, after Adrian had publicly mocked me at a company dinner. I'd started digging into his background. What I found was rot, years of embezzlement, coercion, and buried scandals. When Lena walked out of that penthouse, I was waiting by the curb. She climbed into the car, eyes wet but her jaw firm. "Did you get it?" I asked. She nodded, every word. We didn't go home. We drove straight to a journalist I trusted, someone who'd been waiting for proof of Adrian Holt's corruption. Within 48 hours, the story blew up. Finance tycoon accused of harassment and fraud. Every detail, the recordings of financial evidence, was undeniable. His investors abandoned him. His board resigned. Within a week, his empire collapsed. Lena's name never appeared in the article. She didn't want credit or vengeance, just peace. Adrian tried to call once, left a voicemail. "You'll regret this," he said. "You don't know who you're dealing with." He was wrong. A month later, his company was gone. His fortune, his penthouse, his carefully polished image, all of it reduced to ash. One evening, Lena sat beside me on the porch, her hand finding mine. The sunset painted her face in gold and quiet peace. For the first time in months, she looked free. "Do you ever feel guilty?" she asked softly. I thought about that, about the man who tried to break her, about the fear, the nights we'd lived in silence. "No," I said. "He built his empire on fear. We just showed the world what it really was." She rested her head on my shoulder. "I still can't believe it's over." "It's not over," I told her. "It's just where we start again." As the last light faded, I realized something. Revenge hadn't just destroyed Adrian. It had healed us. It proved that truth and love, when tested, can still burn brighter than greed ever will.